Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
innovative, revolutionary, stellar development, purest universal knowledge, in a transformative, futuristic design. The Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit. The very first new evolutionary spaceship technology has been rolled out for mass production. Our Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit is constructed from high-quality materials carefully selected by our team of experts. Embedding the essence of the new GANS plasma science and technology, it uses collective plasma field technology for changing and enhancing the environment of the body of the man. This new plasma enhancement changes the environment of the body to allow it to return to its natural, balanced energetic condition, as in the womb of the mother, allowing every cell in the body of the man to find its natural, original field strength balance. The shape and field distribution in this new space plasma technology replicates the inner structure of the universe and replicates the balance fields from which the man was created at the point of inception in the womb of the mother, not only receiving balance in the physical, but also in the emotional sense too. For the first time in the history of man, a system has been developed and delivered which not only enhances the physical body of the man, but also enhances the emotional part of the user of the system, hence reducing and eliminating many problems that could not be solved in the world of science, to bring the body of the man into near perfection, as at the time of birth. This new spaceship technology can be within the reach of every man today and can be ordered by medical practitioners, sports specialists and healthcare centres. The Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the future you have been waiting for, is here. The journey from space to spaceship technology has started. Every order is subject to a contractual agreement and might require additional accessories priced separately for applications according to each case. You can order or contact us at office@at.kfm.global for additional information.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 389th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, July 15th, 2020. 2021. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the public teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and I'll be a host today, along with Mr. Keshe, who is a host and a provider of the workshop, as well as our main guest, of course. So welcome, Mr. Keshe, to another Knowledge Seekers workshop. And I think you are ready to begin. Perhaps we should tell people, about the KF TV won't be broadcasting today, but likely for next week's. Maybe you can explain that.
Good morning, good day to you, as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers of the Keshe Foundation, the Spaceship Institute around the world. We hope it'll be a beautiful summer day in the northern hemisphere. It'll be a nice winter day in the southern hemisphere. But either way, we receive the same energies of the universe and we enjoy life in this, what I call dynamic UFO, we call it planet Earth, that we are traveling around the universe within our own solar system, and we are totally ignorant to it because we are born in it. We never take notice of it. How it takes us around, we see the whole universe freely. We don't pay for it. We consume its energy to get from one point to another in the universe. We don't pay for it. And has become for us, we take it as granted. We cannot live without it. And in a way, is part of us in the structure of the life of the universe. In the past week, in a couple of teachings, we have referred to something especially for it to be more expanded on in the teaching of today. We have a reason for it. This is part of our set out with what is to come up with the peace plan, expansion of peace process, and negotiations with what we call the rights of every man to have access to all the knowledge of the creation, as we've done in Keshe Foundation. In the teaching in past week, it has been important for us to open the chapter, what is important to us, and it has been ignored. It has been kept in the backfire deliberately that we do not get what we used to have. If you were a student like me in 1970s and 80s, we had a Greenpeace movement, which every time somebody said something about nuclear, they were on the streets and banners, ban the nuclear and the rest of it. Because at that time, it was good for Russia to push the, what we call Western nation to work against nuclear. And it was financed heavily through the different channels to stop the nuclear, what we call development in the West, financed by the East. And then we saw Chernobyl, and then we saw what we call Fukushima. And we came to a point that suddenly we don't want to know anymore. And every one of us thinks that the nuclear industry has come to an end. Nobody's doing anything about it. In fact, what is important is that nuclear industry has never expanded so rapidly in one point, one place, and in different places at the same time. This is a misconception by many knowledge seekers and people who are just thinking about our work, that why over past years I keep on talking about nuclear plasma technology, not nuclear technology. But nuclear technology has never been so live. Today, as we speak, as I explained in other teachings, is that there are 15 nuclear power stations under construction around the world. We never had this. The maximum we can recall back was 2025 and 30 in plan and progress. We have 420 operating, semi-operating nuclear reactors today, but 50 are getting added today, are getting built around the world. We expect another 50 by 2030, 2040 to be start and going. By mid-century, we are expecting 300 more nuclear reactors, higher order, higher power, to come into operation. The world economists and the governments are turning their back on the coal and oil and investing heavily in nuclear industry, but this time silently, very silently, is extremely profitable. It's one of the most profitable businesses governments have ever got into. One power station costs around about $30 billion. And when you put 50 of them together at it now and 50 in plan, you understand it's become one of the big gamers. With 30 billion, you can make many, many gas-fired what we call power stations and oil and the rest of it. But governments are going for nuclear. At the moment, there are 50 sites under construction in 19 nations. It's not anymore China or Russia or United States or England. 19 nations are building heavily. They're supporting themselves for the eventuality when the oil runs out, but at the same time to be independent to support. From Dubai to Saudi Arabia to Singapore to China and everywhere else, they are heavily involved. We are building in UK, we are building in US. And their list is released by IAEA, what we call the monitoring system for nuclear industry. The whole structure of a nuclear has never been so vibrant. We see two heavily advanced systems being built by the Chinese in trying to process what we call high efficient nuclear materials for whatever purposes they do. We cannot accuse, but the places and the way these two systems are built are heading towards production of the what I call highly efficient pure materials. And so we see that nuclear industry is very vibrant, but you don't hear anything on the news. They don't let you. Just tap it in on Google it, and you will see. You get the list of the countries which are building, have built. There are a few will coming operational in the next 12 months and 24 months and 3 years. In so many ways, nuclear industry is alive, is kicking, but silently. But there is a big problem. What is going to happen with 420 we have now, another 50 added, another 50 coming on, and then by mid-century, we have 700 nuclear reactors. Some stations of the past are getting repaired. Some are getting touched up. Some are getting revamped. But in any case, $30 billion now costs to put one station up. It was a fraction of this in 1970s when I was a student and we contemplating to build. But the thing is that this technology has become a cartel. 3 or 4 nations can only produce nuclear materials and then sell it, operate it, control the others. Nobody else can what I call do preparation. Nobody can clean the fuel rods. Nobody can do anything unless they do. Germany, United States, England to a part has tried, diverted from it. Russia and China. And Japan is not allowed to do much, but they're still building new nuclear reactors in a different way without many people know. In so many ways, a cartel has been established, and this cartel is trying to run profitably, each one taking its cut. And why I brought this subject up is because as we start negotiating for peace, not only between Iran +5+1, but for all the nations who are involved in it. Nuclear plasma technology is part of the technology of the space technology. Without it, we cannot travel. Without it, we cannot reach to the depth of the what we call universe. As we said, our plan is 6th of June, 2022, attempting to fly from Earth to Moon in less than 1 hour. This is what we plan to do as part of the Iranian program, Keshe Foundation program, and in bringing other nations to be. One of the reasons you see 5+1 so heavily on Iran is because Iran is cutting into the piece of cake. Iran can produce and prepare and clean up much faster, much cheaper, which then it pushes nations to look outside. Iran has the technology to develop nuclear, build nuclear power stations, and cartel doesn't like it. The sanctions on Iran is 90% built for this to be stopped, that they can keep what they call the cartel. And this is part of what we need to understand. What are we going to do, even with the Iran nuclear material which is in hand? The weapon technology with the new technology of Keshe Foundation is obsolete. Producing nuclear plasma for deep space travel brings a new dimension, new science, new way of living and traveling for all of us. This is what is important to all of us to know. We are putting one more step towards another accident. We are putting one more step towards possible damages by nuclear reactors which are out of control. It has happened to us many times. We've seen it with Fukushima. We've seen it with Chernobyl. We've seen it in occasions in different countries. We have a 3 Mile Island situation, even though very small. And then what's going to happen? What is our children going to do? What is the future of nuclear industry in these countries? There are two solutions: containment, finding somewhere today, or using a new plasma technology to contain with a gravitational system all the fields within the building. We are not offering a system to bury nuclear power stations material, a new knowledge, a new technology. In a way, gravitational field system to be built below the nuclear reactors of today by Iranian nuclear physicists, that on the time when we want to shut down, we switch these reactors off. Understanding the knowledge of nuclear, understanding the gravitational magnetic field of the creation of systems, we keep these reactors running, but we absorb the fields and everything else into the ground. This is unknown knowledge to the present nuclear industry. We don't need to find another hole to bury our own mistakes. And even if a system runs out, you won't see the system we saw with Fukushima, where the explosion will release everything out. We can develop, and in a way we have developed a system which is already operational in one of Keshe Foundation sites, where we absorb, create a local gravity, and we absorb the fields inside. What this means, it means no nuclear reactor using our technology will ever run into possibilities of Fukushima or Chernobyl. This is unknown, and this is a part of the technology which we offer in exchange for peace from the Iranian scientists. We understand the process, and part of nuclear proliferation is this. Let us use nuclear, but we build a safety factor, which has not been available. This is part of our work in the coming time. This is what we offer, and this is what is on the table of negotiation. Iran advanced nuclear technology in exchange for world peace. In a way, we create a condition that no nation can create nuclear materials. With it, we allow nuclear plasma technology to be developed, but we don't allow nuclear weapon technology to take hold. In so many ways, what's the guarantee that all these 50 nuclear reactors built today will not go up the blue the first week, the first year, or somewhere during the operation? There has to be an alternative, and this alternative is on the table with the knowledge we have in the plasma technology. In a way, we create maglev systems, especially designed to absorb these kind of things. We need to do this. This is not a knowledge which we develop for what we call nuclear industry. This is a knowledge we have developed, and it's in your patents, that we develop for space, deep space. What kind of fields we want to absorb from the environment? We are short of oxygen. We are short of carbon. We are short of magnetic gravitational field plasmas of aluminium. We switch our system in our reactors anywhere in the universe, and we absorb the field strength of that to the system. We create oxygen as we need. We create aluminium as we need. This is part of the technology which will be given and traveled and delivered for the new power stations. What I said, and I suggested to our nuclear physicists, we need to make underground tunnel even under the 420 nuclear reactors we are operating today to place these, what are called maglev systems, underneath them that does not allow them to leak, does not allow no nuclear material to go beyond the boundary of the nuclear reactors. As I said many times before, we saw this when I was a student at Queen Mary College. We found out in the research that the nuclear material reaches beyond the boundary of the university reactors, and it was shut down immediately after completion of my report to the university. The following year, they shut the nuclear reactor down because we are radiating inside the city of London. In this way, this has been part of the understanding to bring this situation under control, to make a nuclear industry, to make sure situations like Fukushima and Chernobyl does not happen. We don't need to dump on top. We don't need to put concrete on top. We don't need to find ways to dismantle something. Doesn't matter what happens, we absorb it internally. The inner core of the planet Earth is made of nuclear plasma technology. We just feed it back where it comes from. In so many ways, the new Keshe Foundation space technology is not just for deep space. We can change things on this planet. We can make nuclear industry a safe industry. And we take our position as part of the negotiation +5+1. This is the announcement from the Iranian nation and the Iranian authorities. In a way, we walk away from 5+1 because we have too much advanced nuclear technology to bother with the child's gameplay, which is that nuclear technology in exchange for peace for all of us. Every nation has to have access to the nuclear plasma technology to be able to develop their own space technology, to be able to develop their own energy resources, to be able to go advance with what they have. Why do we see Africa suffering so much heavily? They have no nuclear industry. And all the national resources and the rivers and everything else has been used to the full. A continent suffers from the lack of energy because they cannot afford 30 billion. And the West and the China and the rest, by stealing and borrowing from the others and themselves and their nation, are building these to guarantee their income. They guarantee their energy resources. With the new plasma technology, we give a balanced, fair chance to every nation, be it United States, to Africa, to Asia, and the rest. The new understanding of the space technology is for all of us. And that's why we teach so openly. This is what we sit for and what we stand for. Knowledge in exchange for peace. In so many ways, the new nuclear industry can grow as much as it likes. But for the first time, we have a safety guarantee. We have the knowledge to create these conditions that we can develop. We can enjoy the pleasures of the nuclear technology, but we put what we call safety factor in, automatic safety factors. We don't need to have a runaway situation when the nuclear reactor starts. The first steps of meltdown and runaway, what we call maglev systems underneath the reactor go into operation, absorbing it, not allowing the meltdown position we saw in Fukushima and Chernobyl. This is part of our new technology. This is part of the Keshe Foundation technology in conjunction and cooperation with the Iranian nuclear industry. The technology belongs to all of us, and we should have the benefit of it. In so many ways, no one can build any more nuclear reactors unless we have certification that the maglev system underneath the building works, can absorb, cannot allow radiation out. It's the same as we said in the system we have built for the space technology. We protect ourselves with shielding. For the first time, we have a protection that nothing can come in. This time we absorb that nothing can get out. In so many ways, understanding of the new technology in the nuclear industry cannot go further if the technology of the new plasma technology as the nuclear side of it is not understood. We offer technology in exchange for peace from the Keshe Foundation to world governments. In so many ways, nuclear industry becomes a savior for all of us. In a way, we can use the materials from the nuclear reactors in an appropriate way to build the stations, to build reactors, can take man to the depths of the universe. As I said before, there are three different kinds of radiation. And as the knowledge of the man increases and expands, then man can expect to travel deeper, to travel faster, to break barriers of the nation's color and race, does not matter on planet Earth or beyond. In so many ways, today's teaching is very simple. We have to think the correct way for all of us. We have to bring apparatus and systems that protect all of us. We have to expand the knowledge of humanity beyond the present dimension. This technology sits for that purpose. In so many ways, the new dimensions of the understanding of dynamic plasma, even for example, in case of corona, will be very easy. You just need to put a system in the middle of the city which absorbs the strength of the virus. 1 second there, 1 second not there. This is what we have developed in the Keshe Foundation, new what we call enhancement units. In so many ways that in a spaceship of tomorrow, if we come across a field strength that could be behaving or endanger all of us, we just need to tune into the strength and what we call extract. The same thing as we do with the nuclear reactors if they run away. We extract a specific field strength. In so many ways, we have fire detectors, we have smoke detectors. Now we can develop technology which extracts and detects and protects nuclear reactors, nuclear industry, even to be on a spaceship, what we call plasma reactors. We open a new horizon in the world of science and technology. And as I recommended to my leaders in Iran and the Iranian new president, we walk away from 5+1 because we are the totality of the knowledge put together and we have more to offer. Our knowledge as a knowledge seekers of what we call nuclear industry should be a credit, not a danger, not to be perceived danger. Iran has to be what we call part of the nuclear cartel, that we provide the exclusivity of technology for safety and extraction of nuclear material from power stations. In a way, as I said to my leaders, no nuclear power station should be built unless it's certified by the Iranian nuclear physicist safety people that it has a capability to extract all radiations from the environment of the nuclear reactor into the ground. In a way, we bring a new dimension. In a way, we bring a new technology. And in a way, we have to be part of the new space technology as knowledge seekers, as Keshe Foundation, as a one nation. In so many ways, we are not putting a hand of friendship out. We are putting a hand of science out to be able to protect all of us. In so many ways, nuclear industry today, which has been hidden from you, is active, alive, and kicking, and waiting for the next explosion like Fukushima or like what we saw in Chernobyl and the others which have never been announced. In so many ways, it's time to add the space technology to the present knowledge. In a way, to add to our knowledge, to make it safer for us, to make it safer for our new generation, to make it safer for our children and grandchildren. And it does not matter where they go, on this planet or beyond, they're safe on this planet from nuclear reactors, in the space from viruses, and somewhere else from something else. In a way, our knowledge is not complete. The next step, when a man takes into space and goes beyond this galaxy, man needs to learn more about deep space fields transformation, oceans of fields, which most of them, as we've seen in our planet, different airs, different conditions of environment, they are the same. And we need to understand more about cosmic rays. We need to understand how to extract those part of it, which becomes part of our life, can become advantageous to us, can become part of our process of understanding the part of the totality of the creation. In so many ways, we asked the American administration, the Chinese, and the Russians to listen to the teaching of today. The message is very simple. We have developed technologies which is unknown, and in the process, we will open up the technology to all. In so many ways, it should not be exclusivity, but it has to be a must. No nuclear reactor with the knowledge which is in the hand of Iranian nuclear physicists should be opened up without certification that the fields can be absorbed into the ground, can be buried, can be taken out and put in a place as a fields of the strength of this planet that no nuclear explosion can happen. This makes it impossible for nations to use nuclear weapon technology. In so many ways, missile technology is buried. This is why in Iran we announced many times, we are not interested in nuclear missiles technology because it has no use. And secondly, with the technology in our possession, you can drop one, we can drop one, absorb whatever you try to exploit. It's very simple. In a way, if you look at what we saw in Hiroshima, if we can drop immediately another system inside, within the range, we can absorb all the fields back to this point. 1 second nuclear, next second none. Now you understand why nuclear weapon technology is obsolete. We have created the deterrent for it. We have developed technologies which become deterrent to it. What's the use of making something which is nothing? Nuclear power superiority has hit what we call rock bottom levels of it. The new understanding, the new plasma nuclear technology, what can do can write off all the dangers of behind and what we've done in front and what it will do to all of us in our history. In so many ways, mankind has to enter a new phase. Mankind has to enter a phase to understand that whatever he can make to destroy, we understand the process of it. We understand it's made of fields, and we understand we can change the fields. My advice to the American administration, to the Chinese leadership, to the Russian administration, the same, is let's talk big boys game, understanding the technology and delivering a new technology that does not give one nation superiority just because it can kill more. A nation should be respected for its knowledge that it can save more. And this comes out of the Iranian nation and Iranian nuclear physicists. We offer safety. We offer protection if mistakes happen. And in a way, with this new technology, we make the nuclear industry of America, China, and the rest obsolete. In so many ways, mankind has reached a new level. And in so many ways, once the nation loses the superiority of killing, nations become equal. In a way, peace becomes not optional, but becomes a must. In a way, we can change a lot of things. We can bring a lot together collectively as human beings to develop than destroy. My message to His Excellency President Biden is simple. Talk peace in Tehran. We invite you to Tehran. And this is the backing by the Iranian leadership and the new president of Iran. We do not bend, but we deliver technologies that makes you ashamed in what you do and what you've done. We stand resolute for world peace and a new knowledge. My knowledge belongs to humanity, but not by the suffering of one or the other, for the others to prove they can bully, they can cajole, and they can lie and cheat. The new nuclear plasma technology puts an end to all the fears of technology. As I said many times before, The reason as nuclear physicists we are respected because we have shown that we can kill in mass. And then when you put the Iranian in front of it with what they put out, makes it more fearful. Now, when you hear an Iranian nuclear physicist, you respect and honor the knowledge that they brought the knowledge to change everything of the past. In a way, knowledge in exchange for peace is on the table of negotiations from Iranian new Office of Administration and His Eminence Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran and the Keshe Foundation. We do not walk away from nuclear agreements. We see them as obsolete. In a way, we open the doors of Iranian nuclear industry, nuclear plasma industry, to all the nations. It has to be equal. It has to be fair that the scientists in South Africa, in Namibia, in London, in Beijing, in Tehran, all collectively develop their own ways to find new ways, new science in helping their and the citizens of this planet. In so many ways, it becomes like computers. Different nations develop different part of it, and we all benefit by it. When an app is made or a new program is made, we all use it freely, we get access to it. And this is how the Plasma Keshe Foundation has to become part of the same process. In so many ways, my call and the call of the Iranian administration is very simple. New government, new opportunity, and new world peace for all of us. In so many ways, mankind has to know what is the capability of Iranian nuclear physicists that can bring peace, security, and absolute certainty that man can be in the space. As I said, we invite the American president to Tehran. No condition attached. And at the same time, we are prepared to open the embassies in Tehran and Washington. No condition attached. You can keep your sanctions because you're sanctioning yourself from the knowledge while we teach it to the others. Unless the old habit of stealing on the sideline still exists within the American, the British, and other administrations. In so many ways, we open our nuclear industry to the world. The new plasma technology and technology that can change all of us. Even we can drill under the present Fukushima and Chernobyl and place these systems to extract and hold and change the environment with the guarantees that everyone can do what they like and live a normal life. You will see and you'll come across these in your travels in the deeper space. We will see explosion of stars. We will see explosion of planetary systems, which run out of control. Why we are the citizens, why we have passengers of Earth on these units. We need to have this technology, first of all, to contain, secondly, to extract. In so many ways, the opportunity with the new knowledge is so vast that we need to bring all the universities of this planet to work towards new understanding. Keshe Foundation, in a short time, hopefully will announce the opening of one of the largest university sites of the Keshe Foundation. If our negotiation goes positive, we will open a 30,000 square meter university for all scientists to come and learn. We hope we come to negotiation by the end of this year. And on completion, we open the doors to up to 3,000 world scientists to learn together within the structure of the Keshe Foundation, the new technology. We are striving to change the position, but we cannot let one nation to suffer for the other cartels to show they have the power to do what they like. In so many ways, we need advanced nuclear preparation technology of Iran and other nations to be able to produce the fuels for mankind's deepest space travel. Iran what we call nuclear proliferation fuels at up to 92% in coming months is needed if man wants to go into deeper space. The reason for it is, as we look for purest gold to have the purity to do our test, in the space travel, we need the purest radiation fields that we have no accident by creating other fields within our reactor to be diverted or to be absorbed or be pushed away from one destination or other. Nuclear plasma technology needs purity of the nuclear material to be able to do 99 enrichments within the next 6 months or 12 months by the Iranian nuclear physicists is needed to become certain. We take off from Earth, we land on the moon with no problems that other field radiation should be. In a physical dimension, we looked for 99.99 purity of gold. In the new plasma technology, we look for 99.99999 with pure mono fields from the purest one element system. This is why I support the Iranian nuclear plasma proliferation, because it gives us that stepping stone to have a pure field, no dimensions of any deviation or absorption of other materials. In so many ways, what was put to be a problem as actually is the solution. As has been announced by the Iranian leaders, we have reached 60% purity in April. We announced Iran will reach 92 to 99% within the next 6 months, which allows us to travel with the pure plasma materials of monoenergetic, exactly the way it is within the center of every planet. In so many ways, if you build magravs, you know what I'm talking about. If you put a wrong turn, you create a wrong field opposite to the other, your magrav system doesn't work, or it doesn't work as best efficient way to do. As you have created different fields in a different direction. It's the same with the space technology. We need pure fields that are mono, that are in a plasma condition and are energetic enough to be able to create lift and motion. Monoplasma technology is a gift from the Iranian nuclear physicists to humanity. We will achieve it in a pure way, and at the same time, this is why we said Iran has to be part of the new cartel in nuclear industry. Not only we add to the knowledge for the space travel, we bring the security to the present nuclear reactors that they will never run out of control. In a way, knowledge in exchange for peace is the new layout of the Iranian administration and government and leadership. We work in one way. We bring on the table the knowledge you could dream of as a reality of totality. You can keep your sanctions for your own pocket. We sanction you with the knowledge. We share the knowledge with what you call the third world to pass you faster than you could ever imagine. When we have people of South Africa on the moon and Mars in early next year, American scientists can still work on the plasma reactors, hoping to land in Mars in 2030 if they can. My call goes to Mr. Nelson, at the head of propulsion for Mars mission in NASA. Open the channel of talk. We invite you to our base in Arizona. We teach you if you do not like, or you can come with your president to Iran. We show you how it's done. In so many ways, we are proud to be a nation of scientists and developers of the new technology. I will not allow not a single Iranian nuclear physicist to be touched or to be killed. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. If one more Iranian nuclear physicist is touched, we withdraw the knowledge from the nation who does it. And you will feel it. You will understand what we're talking about. In a way, no scientist anywhere in the world has to be touched. Scientists have to be respected as the prophets because they bring change to the world of man. In a way, mankind has to move up and get out of this dogma of wanting to be, but be part of to be. In so many ways, my call goes onto the American administration, and especially to His Excellency President Xi of China. We are all friends and we work as one. But knowledge in exchange for peace, it comes peace for every man on this planet, not between the nations. Peace of mind, that there is food, there is energy, and there is shelter on demand is the responsibility of all of us to be responsible for all of us, irrespective of color, religion, and race, and what we call stupidity of making sanctions on the back of what we call, which doesn't exist anywhere in the universe, except what we call man's greed for power. In so many ways, today's teaching is very simple. We have opened a new phase of negotiation with all the nations, irrespective of their what we call political dimensions. We expect one thing out of our negotiation. The new administrations in all countries have to accept that there should be no kingship. There should be no one above another, but we work as one. We see the end of kingships in all the countries which have kings. A king can be a king in his own house, not over the others. This is part of the structure to come. No one is above another. And the old habit of I am better and I'm a king has to finish. This is part of what we will see enforced by most of those who will take the new technology in hand. We have a very clear message for those who think we play game. Play with us, you see the benefit. Work against us, you damage yourself, not us. It's you who is going to fall behind. As I said, the new administration, a new cycle of life means total change for all of us. In so many ways, in the past times, we always looked at who has the better gun to kill to be powerful. From now on, we look who has the best technology to serve to be powerful. Serving humanity is part of the work of becoming what we call as part of universal community. The choice of peace has to be no choice, but has to be there that we don't have to choose. Like air we breathe, like water we drink. Peace has to be part of our lives, as we know we have everything we need. We can have everything we need. At the same time, working has to become a pleasure, not way to feed yourself just to survive. This habit of man will change. We have no factories and we cannot produce things in the space for man just to sell, to be happy that he changes piece of paper or numbers on the computer. In so many ways, I hope many of you will understand. And as we ask the American administration to listen to the teaching of today, we have conveyed a new message from Tehran. Technology of the nuclear space technology and safety for building of the new nuclear reactors which are in progress in exchange for peace for humanity. We do not negotiate for Iran, we negotiate for the whole of humanity, that no nation by weapon gets superiority. We are not interested in weapon technology, we are not interested in missiles. We are interested in peace as our knowledge becomes missile through the life of the human race, and it brings a betterment of life for all of us. In the next few weeks, Iranian new administration will come into power. And with it comes the message of peace, exchange for technology, and enforcement of peace and sharing of the knowledge with all the nations on this planet. We have negotiated with those who matter in the background. And it's a decision that we have made to make this announcement today. In the Oval Office, you have one choice. Make it an office of peace and white, not from outside, but white inside too. You've done enough bloodshedding in the past decades, and now it's time for it to come to an end. And we offer you that opportunity with knowledge and technology. We invite world scientists to Tehran. At the same time, we share the knowledge with all of you to develop different parts of it the way we have done in the Keshe Foundation. We show you the way, the development, and enjoying the fruit of it is yours for the rest. I have made this very clear to the Iranian new government. Keshe Foundation technology is at the disposal of the Iranian nation for exchanging peace, for exchange for betterment of all the humanity, and in a way to have a center, a place that we are proud to live in, the earth, where man does not kill, where man never suffers from shortness of the essentials of life. The Creator did not choose which part of the earth will have air or less air, if it's a different color or different race of people or is animals living. He is omnipotent and he shares equal. And that will be the new way that the Iranian nation and government will like. We share our technology, and with it, we take the banner of peace. And with it, we put our law down. In a way, the technology and knowledge has to be free for all, and Iran become the flagship for this technology. As I said, to all those who matter, join us, you benefit. Boycott us, you boycott yourself. And as I said before, it's time to bring the knowledge to be used correctly. And I said before, no nuclear reactors should be built and no nuclear reactors should be operated in the next few years unless they have received certification from Iranian nuclear physicists and IAEA that the system is befitted with a gravitational system for extraction of the nuclear material into the earth, that it can be reused. And it's safe for all of us. We don't make a shelter, we create what we call extraction system of the field. In so many ways, this was developed by me years ago in Queen Mary College, when we saw the rods to absorb nuclear radiation if the neutrons run out of control. To me, this was a funny way to do it, where we could have one thing that all could be senses, like your smoke detectors. When you smell the smoke by a detector, the alarm goes off. When you feel and see increase in radiation, the field needs to be absorbed. Not by a rod, which itself has shown to be not effective, be it with Chernobyl, be it with Fukushima, and the others. The radiation has to be handled by radiation fields, not by matters which lose control and get saturated. This technology is the only way that the future nuclear reactors on this planet should be built. The new future nuclear reactors for space travel has to be built, that we have access to all. In so many ways, we have opened a new era in nuclear technology. We are not interested in nuclear weapon because there is no weapon to match the knowledge which we have brought. And in so many ways, you want to run a nuclear reactor in America, ask your nation, has the Iranian nuclear technology for absorption of the radiation has been placed underneath of it, that nothing can happen to us. It's a safety guarantee. You don't open a shopping center if it's not equipped with fire extinguishers, fire detectors, and fire escape doors. You cannot build a nuclear reactors and hope that nothing goes wrong. It has to be a certainty that nothing goes out and nothing will happen to it. And this is the responsibility of our leaders in nuclear industry, and as being a nuclear physicist, of our administration in IAEA to enforce the new technology. They have to make guarantees that are not just there to lay laws who has a camera aware, but they lay laws that every equipment, safety, and operation of nuclear reactors is guaranteed by the new plasma technology in absorbing radiation into the ground and not into the atmosphere. There is no possibility of what we call China syndrome with a new technology. As is plasma, it absorbs, and its plasma in diversion of the stronger to the weaker can be processed into the center of the earth to become part of the energy of the inner sanctum of the materials of the earth. We bury the energy into dynamic magma of this planet. This is a technology which we have. And it's a technology which in so many ways has been hidden in many of the Keshe Foundation system, which has been marketed in the past few weeks and months. In so many ways, we are in process and in a position of the technology beyond imagination. And as I said, knowledge in exchange for peace, but for all the humanity. Iran will take lead in the peace talks with all the nations by teaching the peaceful way of using plasma nuclear technology, part of what we call KF SSI Education system. There's one thing for sure. Humanity, for the first time, has the guarantees that will operate with a full safety as we operate with the protection of the atmosphere of this planet around us, to protect us from meteorites and everything else that touches us every day and every second. Now, with the knowledge of Keshe plasma technology and support of the Iranian nation and government, we give that safety net to the whole of humanity. Let us enjoy the nuclear industry, but not live with the fear of it, that it become a nuclear bomb or become a nuclear weapon deterrent or whatever else. Let us build on the nuclear industry the way it was developed by the Creator in allowing the universe to be created. We are created out of the fields of the universe. And in a way, we can use the new understanding to create new dimensions for all of us. Maybe for the first time, we have laid our law down. We could not talk before, as we did not believe in the present administration in Iran. With the new administration and trust in the work of and the belief of the Iranian scientists and Iranian leadership, we lay out the new law. Science for exchange, for peace, for all mankind, and not for one nation. And in understanding this, we open our doors to all the world scientists to come to Iran, to come to the new university to be opened up, we wish and we hope, in Europe in the coming time. And at the same time, we look to be able to be an active member of IAEA for assuring and creating new standards for safety of all of us, understanding the nuclear plasma technology. In a way, as I said to the Iranian government officials in the past few days, and those who matter for us within the administration of His Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran, is that we share our knowledge in exchange for peaceful world. And we work and we stick to the same ethos. In so many ways, as I said, it's for us knowledge seekers not to seek for the knowledge, but to seek for peace through the knowledge. Not for our nations, but even for ourselves. In the coming time, a number of new systems will be released by the Keshe Foundation. We have a placed order for the first transmutation and transportation systems to be built in our laboratories in Austria. And will be demonstrated in a new center in the coming weeks once it's totally done. When we are happy with it, we release it. You will see the transmutation in the what we call the exhibition center, where you will be putting one and you'll be taking the other system across the bridge. And as I said before, the technology is in the hand of peaceful people of the Keshe Foundation. in respect of our race, and color, and a position on this planet. In so many ways, I have brought a new nation on this planet by the teachings of Pacier. We don't look at the color, race, or religion, and we respect each other for the knowledge we bring. It's beautiful, but I turn up in different teachings, like American teachings on Sunday night from all over the world. Everyone shares unconditioned, and the only thing we ask for, where are you from? And what can you bring on the table of knowledge? When you join the Keshe Foundation Knowledge Seekers Program every week on Wednesday, there is no color or race who can be and who cannot be. We share knowledge freely. And we have to take this principle across this planet. We have become a new race. We have become a new way of thinking and a new way of sharing. We do not exclude, but we include. And this is how the new technology has to be shared. Exclusivity should be for the animals. Inclusivity should be for human beings. And in knowledge and technology, we have to be inclusive, irrespective of where we are. The new, what we call media technology, has given us that skill, and we have to use it to share it, that with our work, we change the work of what we call the hooligans and animal behavior of the past. In a way, not knowingly, we have become a new nation out of the planet. We join in different corner teams of the Keshe Foundation of different languages, and we encourage everybody else to join us in different groups for different teachings. And now it's time to teach these to our leaders. We already have become one nation. We already have become one race of knowledge seekers, and it will be very hard for those who thought they'll benefit by it through division and through superiority to be a better killing machine. The superiority of the nations like United States is finished. You match us with nuclear. We match you with the love of the new plasma technology, that your nuclear weapon, firstly, not will ever take wing. Secondly, if it comes to touch, will have no effect to touch. In a way, with a new technology, which will be released by us, we force our government not to be afraid of nuclear physicists, but to be respectful of the new knowledge of the nuclear plasma technology. Many of you will become the teachers of the future. Many of you will become the banner bearers of peace because you are knowledge seekers. Many of you will pride in how long you've been a knowledge seekers, and many of you will be proud how you have served the others. And this has become, and has to become, the habit of human beings. As I said, none of you knew, most probably, that today 50 nuclear power stations are getting built. Hinkley 3 in the United Kingdom, due operational in the next 2-3 years. Ask the British government, what is the guarantee for the nuclear reactor if it runs away? The whole nation of England or United Kingdom will not be blown up by it. Do you have a certificate from Iran nuclear physicists to confirm that we are fitted with a new system? That our nation is safe, our country is safe, our part of this planet is safe because we are responsible for the fish in the sea as much as man in the mountain. Now we understand why we push through new technology. You look for CE certification. Now soon for new reactors, you have to look for KF certification, that we have delivered such a system to the nation for the nuclear power stations to be safe. We have equipped the nations that if one nation turns rogue, there is enough material available that any nuclear material goes astray can be absorbed back in. Now we need assurances from nations to walk away from superiority through gun policy than knowledge policy. In so many ways, I made this very clear to the Iranian administration. The office of His Excellency to become the President of Iran, Mr. SSI, Keshe Foundation technology is a tool of peace in the hand of the new government. Use it wisely, and we do not need sanctions except if they want to sanction themselves from the knowledge and technology. When we released the key of the Keshe Foundation patents, one by one nations around the world asked for it and they received it. And the Americans held back to Obama's administration on the second time of his election. Throughout this time, we'll see what's in this key. Now we unravel how to open the key and understand the knowledge into it with the new American administration. You had the key for over 10 years, but your scientists are not educated enough to decipher it. You asked for it, we gave it to you, but you do not know how to open the key. We give you the key in exchange for world peace, in exchange for end of nuclear weapons to be a superiority, but the knowledge of space to be able to reach the depth of space to be. As I said many times before, my advice to His Excellency President Xi of China is don't look to match the Americans with nuclear warheads. Look to bring prosperity to your citizens through the new knowledge of plasma technology. To understand more, to be able to serve your nation. And at the same time, we will share this knowledge. As we did last time, we gave the key first to the smallest nations in Africa. So the country of Sierra Leone was the first nation receiving the USB stick of the Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers. And with it, we helped them with Ebola and E. coli during the crisis they had. We gave the same key to the most strongest government in the world, what they called itself a superior power, the United States, less than a year later by their request. But now it's time to open the key of patterns. And in signing for peace, we start deciphering the pattern for every aspect of the application. It's the responsibility of the government of Iran to make sure man lands on the moon on the 6th of June, 2022, with the knowledge of the Keshe Foundation, with the guarantee to arrive within less than 1 hour and below. And we invite the American scientists, the Chinese scientists, and the Russians to join us in this, what we call endeavor. Collectively, we have the knowledge, we have the scientists to be able to achieve this. To join the club, to go to moon, you have to sign your nation to peace. Don't forget, if we can reach the moon in 1 hour, we can reach your capitals in 1 minute. And in so many ways, on the 10th of February, communiqué by the Iranian officials, they said, with the Keshe Foundation technology, going to moon will take 1 minute. And if it's that way, getting to your nation takes 1 second. Now we understand the purpose of the teachings. Now we change course. As I said, the changes to be announced will be in position. We wait for the new office of Iranian president to take place on the 3rd of August. And immediately the Iranian nation will respond with the peace proposals right across to all the nations. We take the banner of peace, exchange for knowledge and technology. I have made this clear to our people in Tehran, and it goes back to the White House. we invite the American administration to Tehran to celebrate the sharing of the knowledge. You're welcome to walk across and amongst the Iran most fast, advanced, what we call systems for separation and purification of nuclear material. We open the door of every nuclear research centers in Iran because we have advanced our technology, that we see this technology as obsolete, but as part of the process of being able to achieve, to travel the depth of the universe. In a way, purification of nuclear material gives us the purity of guarantee to be able to travel the depth of the space without diversion, explosion, and everything else which is possible. I stand salute and resolute behind the Iranian nation, as we are all Iranian, as we all came to Aryan blood. So when we make as one nation, we are already from one nation. And it comes back to understanding the ethos of what we call our master. We talk good, we act good, and we think good. And this is how it should be, because when we are at peace, we do not need to do anything else. And in the depth of the space, we find the same ethos with the universal community. In a way, weapon technology has come to an end. And in so many ways, in a coming time, a man will be ashamed even why he took this path. But maybe we had to reach to where we are today. As I said, we invite the world leaders to Tehran. We invite the world scientists into Tehran to start the progress development of the space technology. Peace in exchange for knowledge. We cannot be more clear than this. And in my communication to the Iranian leadership this morning, before this teaching, everything was made clear that this is the path that the Iranian nation will take. We become the flag bearer of knowledge and peace, and in that process, we invite the world scientists to Tehran. Take a rest. You have 2 or 3 weeks, and with the upcoming and taking office of His Excellency President Rasai of Iran, we open the doors of knowledge of Iran to humanity. Knowledge in exchange for peace, and those who want to sanction, they can keep their sanctions, as it's worth nothing except the sanction themselves into not receiving the knowledge and waiting for the crumbs or steal the technology on the sidelines, where they could be the part of the actual main groups of developing the technology together with the Iranian physicists. My call is very simple. We start a new cycle with knowledge and technology. We initially, to begin with, safeguard these 50 nuclear reactors which are built. And then we build underground tunnels under the old reactors to make sure the mistakes of Fukushima, the mistakes of Chernobyl, and the others will not happen. And as we develop the technology, we understand nuclear weapons will have no use as we develop the technologies to absorb their fields at the point of a strike, even if they go by mistake of or deliberate. In a way, in the past, arrows were the best thing we had, and we changed them to bullets. And now we change them to peace bullets. We change them to arrows of love, arrows of knowledge and technology. The message is very simple. A new race of man has started as knowledge seekers. We shared knowledge in exchange for peace for all of us. In so many ways, we all carried the knowledge and we received it unconditionally. I thank the new Iranian administration and Office of His Eminence Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran for allowing Iran to become the unique cradle of new science and technology. This would not have been happening if we didn't have such a resolute and what I call astute leader like His Eminence Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran through past 30 years to make sure the Iranian scientists develop the knowledge which takes mankind to the next level. And in so many ways, this is just the beginning. You have to wait and see what more will come. And as we develop together, the more we understand more what it needs to be done to guarantee and assure safety for all of us, even with the mistakes of the past. In so many ways, we have one choice, and that's the choice for a peaceful nation of Earth. And in that process, we lay down the law with science and technology. Thank you very much for today. And I hope I made it very clear where we stand and what to expect. Ask your government from Singapore to Saudi Arabia, to United Kingdom, to United States and Germany. What is the guarantee if the next reactor goes up by mistake or by accident or deliberate? Do we have a technology which Keshe Foundation has offered on the banner of the Iranian nation nuclear physicists? And if you don't have it, you don't switch it on, you don't load it. We become what we call missionaries of peace and knowledge and technology as knowledge seekers. And then we'll find a new dimension. And we'll find out we become the leaders of peace amongst ourselves, for ourselves and for our nations. As one nation, one planet, one race. Thank you very much for today. And I hope I made it very clear in where we stand and what is to come. And we welcome the new administrations to come into position and power in Germany, in Russia, in Iran, and especially now that the American administration has started its 8-year cycle. It's very strange how most of the nations go through elections about the same time every 4 years, which allows the world leaders to get to know and find new ways and new breakthroughs. And the new elections in Iran has created that position with the choice of the new leaders, peace, prosperity for all the nations. And we set that course across the planet. Rick, if you would like to go through a break and then we come back and we go through the second part.
Okay, very good, Mr. Keshe, thank you. And so we'll take a short or not so short break here with some advertising with the Keshe Foundation. We have a new ad I'll play first, and Mr. Keshe was kind of asking for people to see what the reaction that people had to a new ad that we have for a GANS mask, and I'll play that first, and then some other intermission advertising. Okay, we'll be back in a short while.
We are beings from the universe, living in nature, finding our way, making our path through time, looking for beauty. That is why we created the Keshe Foundation GANS mask, to keep your beauty to rejuvenate the skin and help it stay young through your life. The Keshe Foundation space technology embedded in the mask brings balance not only to your body and mind, but also balances your soul. Enjoy living happily in balance and beauty. Keshe Gans Mask, your beauty from the universe.
Okay, hello everyone. We're back at the 389th Knowledge Seekers Workshop on Thursday, July 15th, 2021. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you ready to begin the second part of the show here?
Yes. Are there any questions?
Yes, we do have a few questions. Okay. There was Freed had a question. What is Mr. Keshe's comment on Bill Gates and Warren Buffett wanting a new reactor, natrium reactor being built in Wyoming? And there's a website address that he gave there. I can't show the website because of their terms of use, but I don't know if you know anything about that offhand.
As usual, as we know, we call Mr. Gate micro-soft. He's micro and soft. His mentality is very micro and everything else with him is soft. So we'll leave it to them to dream what they like to dream. And let's see what he gets. You never know.
Okay, thank you. We'll leave it at that. Salamia is asking in the Q&A, is there a link, or what would be the link between quantum science and plasma science? Is there a connection?
There is no connection. A lot of scientists, a lot of people in a very recent past, even the quantum used to exist, they took the Keshe Foundation and they changed the name to quantum that is not connected to Keshe Foundation. Chinese government a few years ago arrested a number of Chinese who did this as a fraud. One of them, if you remember, we had a guy who used to translate for us, Charles. He unknowingly was involved with these guys, that they took the Keshe Foundation technology and changed it to quantum, and they tried to sell it to the Chinese government as a new technology, and few Chinese have tried this. And this has taken hold now. They changed the Keshe plasma technology to quantum to be able to bypass a lot of things, but gradually it's coming up and everybody's becoming aware of it. Plasma is what you call a GANS, is a single molecular system of plasma. And we cannot go below that. And that's what quantum means, the smallest quantity. That's why this terminology was created from the beginning. So with the GANS plasma technology, you are at singularity smallest. So you cannot go any lower, so they change the name the same. And that's what quantum means, the smallest amount of quantity. And they cannot be any smaller than single molecular GANs or single atomic GANs. So we are at the quantum level. We advanced that much in technology. What's the next question?
Okay, we have a couple of hands up here. First, we have Gatwa, and then John Bliven. Go ahead,
Who?
Gatwa. John Bliven.
John.
First, Gatwa. Go ahead, Gatwa.
Hello.
We can't hear you, Dr. Gatwa. You're breaking up.
The longest hello I've ever heard.
I think it's coming across the universe.
Good morning, Mr. Keshe. Hello, good morning, Mr. Keshe.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Can you hear me now, Mr. Keshe?
Yes, we can
Good
hear
morning.
you.
Well, okay, thank you very much. I want to thank you very much for laying down the law. And I must say that today's teaching is one of the, probably the most important that I've had. And so they keep getting better. So I don't know where they end, but I welcome those that get better. Now, I have just, I want to thank you especially for what I have summarized here from your teaching today, you are laying down the law for global peace in exchange of technology, or technology in exchange for global peace. You are bringing about equality for all and end of all kingships, knowledge for all, or what I would call knowledge without borders, health and food security for all, global nuclear radiation security for all, security for scientists globally, opportunity for self and national development through knowledge for all, space technology for all humanity, and all these you've brought through peaceful means, through sharing knowledge and technology. I thank also the nation of Iran for agreeing to work with the Keshe Foundation, and you in particular, to bring all these benefits and much more to a global community, to the whole world. It's very important, I note, that peace is especially important in that we have known greatness thus far. We are told nations are developed because of how many people they can kill in the shortest amount of time. Now, knowing that a nation is great due to bringing about peace is a complete change and is good for humanity. So I thank you very much for bringing all these about. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much to all of us. And in a way, by us keeping the knowledge and technology alive and delivering it in difficult times and good times, we have kept the knowledge where it is and how it is delivered by all of us. Some of us achieve different understanding of different parts of it, and with it, we shared it equally. And I think is congratulations to all the knowledge seekers, those who are with us, those who strived in the past to be part of the foundation and worked in their own ways. Understanding it is not easy. Implementing it is harder, and achieving it is the easiest part. It's just the will of the world leaders to move position from the power to peace. And if the power of killing is changed to power of peace, I think we can all achieve this. As I've said before, and I repeat again, we have to set examples through the work of the foundation for our leaders. And it's for them to follow, and those who don't follow find their own ways of their own demise. But it'll be interesting to see now that we have made the invitation to American president. He'll be seen in Tehran. And as I said, we expect normal relations with all the nations in the coming time, that we have all the knowledge. There is no superiority. One of biggest what I call joys will be to see what I call nuclear warships, nuclear bases of military, becomes a place for man to go and see and understand that once upon a time, man had a killing and animal behavior. Now we change. We are proud of what we achieved total. And we'll see what is the next step. As I said to some bold scientific leaders, in a coming time, we don't have ships to take 4 weeks or 8 weeks to take our goods. We deliver door to door from the factory within minutes. And it'll be interesting how our governments will come to control these things. And how our governments will come to be able to see how all of us become the users of the new technology, how rapid it will be there. We'll see. We'll wait and see. But the message is very clear. We could not wait to see what somebody might do. We laid the ground for what is going to happen, and it's for them to catch up. Knowledge in exchange for peace. We are a peaceful race, and those who see the killing as a way of fear to control, maybe the color, maybe whatever, now they find that the time is over. It's done. Any other question?
I think we should hear from John Blevin now, perhaps. Go ahead, John.
Hello, Mr. Keshe. This is John from Arizona.
Hi, John. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
That's fantastic. What do we have for us?
Oh, I got a couple of questions. The first question kind of leads into the second, which is an expansion on the first. So, in the past, you talked about the children of the future being born, I'll say outside the womb.
Can you repeat again, please, John?
And in the past, you talked about the children of the future being born outside the womb of the mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say hypothetically that there's a couple. Both of them are 80 years old.
How many years?
80.
Yeah.
And they decide that they want to have a child.
Yeah.
And the woman is a Chinese and English speaking person, and the man is an Italian and an English speaking person.
Yeah.
When the child is created, do they come out with a knowledge of, in this case, 3 languages, English, Chinese, and Italian, automatically, or do they go through a growth cycle?
What we have seen in the past in the universe, the birth of a new cycle of life through the soul has no age limit. You can become parents at the age of what you call 200, because the essence of the life is within the body of the man. So age is irrelevant, and it depends how active you want to be in life. But the child will decide, the soul decides for the satisfaction of what and where and how. Which means the child carries all the languages. He understands the emotion of the language, and then is to the what we call to the ear of the hearer. In the coming time, because it's incomprehensible at the moment to speak, in a coming time, we'll open this chapter, is that when you dream, for example, of somebody in another dimension or another position, why do they always speak English? Or if you have a dream, why do they speak always Chinese? Because we translate the emotion to the language we understand. And at the same time, we can translate language to the emotion we understand. That the other side translates it to the language they understand. This is the beauty of universal communication. Man has denied this to himself. It goes back to what I said when you put a one-day-old Chinese child next to the English one, next to the Japanese one. They all understand what they're talking about. They understand their emotion. And this is the key to the success of man in the space. There's no more sign language. A friend of mine years ago went to Germany, and he wanted an egg for breakfast. He didn't know what to say, and he started making a noise a shape of a chicken and showing an egg. And the woman understood, oh, he wants an egg for breakfast. We don't need that. We don't have the physical dimension. They don't have the eye to see. The language of the universe is the language of emotion. And then your body, the way you see it, translate it to your language. So the new generation of the children of the soul of the man know all the language of the universe because they work through the emotion of the soul. Don't worry about that part. That's been solved a long, long time.
Okay, so the reason why I asked that question is I want to take it one step further.
Are you 80?
No.
I'm
not.
Are you planning something?
No. So the reason I asked the question is because I've been experimenting with creating a spacecraft here in Arizona by placing, I'll say, 12 beings in a circle and
12 what? Beans or beings?
beings.
Beans, yeah.
And asking each of them to add their soul to the collective soul that's being created. And in taking what you said already, the spaceship would come out where this collective soul that had been created by these 12 people would then have the collective understanding of everybody who participated in the process, and thus it wouldn't be this evolution where this new collective soul has to go through a 10-year learning process in order to become a spaceship.
What was the outcome of your test?
Of my what?
What's the outcome of your test, or is it something you want to do?
It's ongoing.
And what do you see?
I see that when I go into this energy field that I created, that there's a palpable energy field returned when I send energy field to it.
What does that mean? Explain.
So if I walk into this energy field that I created, I can feel all of a sudden a quickening of the heart and I'll say a connection to this field that I can't see, can't touch, but is there.
But is the 12 people still there when you go in the field?
No. These are off-world beings that I've asked to support the co-creation of a spaceship with.
You haven't stopped experimenting. Can't you change your 12 magrams now with 12 human beings now?
Yes.
Yeah, I understand what you're doing. And what's the result?
I'm trying to create this collective soul because this collective soul is even stronger than the individual soul. And it's my feeling that this energy field will be how we create our spaceships of tomorrow.
In a way, when you go to certain points where this used to be practiced, now we see 12 statues. There used to be 12 people, and because of it, they made the 12 months and 12 sign of zodiac. If you look, understand, the whole principle is the same. Collective center, that if you get to that pivotal point, You should be able to have the understanding of the whole 12 systems. And if you follow it and you can centralize it, then you can do anything with it.
This was my feeling.
Yeah. It's like the one we see in south of England with 12 stones. We have had this for centuries. If people understood it, but you can put a reactor, or you can put a, you tried this with maggraph systems, if you remember.
Yeah.
In essence, it's all the same. It depends if you can get to the pivotal. If you don't find a center pivotal point, if you don't want that period, it's very hard to be able to understand all 12. This goes back further into the teaching. Armand was there and the knowledge seekers when we were setting up the new table in the exhibition center past a few days, and the original table of the knowledge seekers who started in 2014 has been set in the meeting room with the chairs and everything. Is 2 on each side. We could have made it like 3 on each side and have the 12 points. And I put a ball in the center of this table when the first 7 knowledge seekers came in. And I said, when you, all 7 of you, reach the same understanding, this GAN sport will light up. Because it becomes the pivotal point of the whole work. It receives energy enough that it lights up. And we've seen that done in the lighting of the plasma balls 3-4 years ago in the teaching. If you put the ball somewhere slightly off center, it won't happen. It has to be in the center. And it has to be what we call equal dimension. If you make it 12 and feed it to the center, then you can do it. But that's what you got to do. I think you'll find great communication if you go to the center of these people, be it physically or being emotionally or plasmatic wise. Otherwise, you're always short of the others.
Do you think a crystal could work in the center?
A crystal wall?
A crystal.
Could be, but you have to find out when the light comes up in that crystal.
Okay.
And is your crystal able to transfer emotional strength into physical dimension light?
I think most of them are, aren't they?
Some are, but not necessarily. It depends on the purity of the crystal. Many tests has been done by many scientists in respect to this.
Well, that's a big help.
Pardon?
That's a big help. Thanks for your answer.
You understand it. You have to position it till that light comes up.
Okay.
In a way, you can do that with a plasma called plasma lasering, but it's very, very difficult to do that. And to find a mono field strength from 12 points at the same time in one center is not so easy.
Doesn't by just simply adding your soul and each of the beings creating a new soul, doesn't that do it? Like, just like we're creating
in a way to do it,
new child.
In a way to do it is to start from a level and become humble and see when you get enlightened. That's the point that you match all 12.
Yeah. That's what I'm working on. And that's what I figured the answer was.
Yeah, you'll become humble enough because you have to receive from all the same as you give back to all the same.
Mhm. Okay, thank you very much for your answer.
Thank you very much. I hope we see you very soon as the center of research between American space organizations and the Keshe Foundation and the Iranian scientists and the Chinese and the rest in Arizona.
I look forward to it.
Working on it. As I wrote to you this morning, my biggest problem is your administration. We are laying the path for what we call a scientific walk than a peace walk. We're trying to change the dynamism with science and technology, not with gun policy. Any other question?
We have our Thomas with the hand up here. Perhaps you can go ahead.
Yes, hello. Thank you, Rick. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. This is Thomas from Switzerland. It's nice to have the possibility to talk to you again. Mr. Keshe, if I watch the situation all over the world for the moment, we have what I would call, like all the others do, we have on one side the population, the people all are nice and do work and go along with each other. On the other side, we have for a long time already what we in the near past have called the deep state. Now this deep state is sort of embedded everywhere, and what I would like to ask you is, I think that the problem, at least for me personally, is not material forthcoming or striving or a new financial system or whatever. But there is one thing on which this so-called deep state is thriving, and that is the trade of humans. The trade, especially of children, having sort of like factories producing children, and then we all know what they do with these children. If this comes to all the, how shall I say, the average people, that will be, if they know what has happened over the last centuries, this will be a shock. I don't know how this will be able to be absorbed. We have for the moment more slaves from this trade than we ever had on this whole world. It is millions of children, millions of women, and who are traded and bought and sold and mishandled, all for receiving a sort of a substance which apparently gives them, I don't know what it gives them, because I haven't seen anybody who finally lived for 200 years of these people. Okay, I don't know how they are able to sort of use this, but where is the way to be able to stop this? Because this is such a a situation where everywhere is this terrible feeling of these misused souls. What can we as a whole community of knowledge seekers, or every individual, what can we do to make sure that we assist in some way that this can be stopped?
Maybe I can answer you one way or the other, or collectively. You see, one of the first things we will see in the coming time is that up to now, the sanctions has been on nations who have been in advancing technology, or they've been accused of terrorism. By bringing the new technology into force and what we see to come, very soon we will see enforcement of banning on the nations who by United Nations has been put as the key nations in child trafficking. The state of Belgium is on the top of the agenda of United Nations. Every flight out of Africa carries 3 to 5 children on a false name. We have drug traffickers, we call them donkeys, where they put cocaine and heroin in their body and they bring it. The embassies of this nation produces passports for children with a false mother and put them on planes or men and brings them into Europe. The fastest way. They have placed all sorts of things on this. But the first focus, once we achieve the position of understanding of technology, is banning, according to the United Nations list, nations who are in child trafficking. And Belgium is the heading this through the ports and airports. A hidden report was done with some securities about 10 years ago, which clearly states every flight into Brussels carries 3 to 5 donkey mothers. And these donkey mothers, being the children, then given 6 months, 12 months visa to become prostitutes in Europe, and they go back wealthy. This we know. And once we stop this child trafficking, I don't understand why such a thing has been allowed and it's become the center of Europe. We have raised the question and very soon will be answered. All the members of the European Parliament has to be clarified if they have or they have a past of the pedophilia with them. This is very important. Why should the biggest nation involved in child trafficking be the center of the European countries? Every member of the European community has to answer. You boycott a nation for everything else, but not where you go and have your seat, and it's the biggest pedophile nation in the world. And this does not end with England, or what they call it, Belgium. We have this in Dubai. In Emirates, you can go to a small city, a town, a village, and literally people, women and adults, children of whatever age, sitting on the pavement waiting to be bought. And you pay some $3,000 or whatever, and they give you their passport, and they're yours for 1 year, 2 years. You literally go on the streets of Emirates shopping for humans. When it was explained to me when we lived in Dubai for 3 months, I felt ashamed to be human. Slavery, you're correct, has not changed. When I used to work with United Nations, I was explaining this to knowledge seekers a few days ago. But the biggest problem United Nations has is the child trafficking of girls from Kashmir. The way we grow cattle or we grow sheep and we sell one sheep every year to live for the life, there are mothers in Kashmir who give birth to children every year that the girls can be sold for the money income for the family for a year or two till the next child grows up. These are the facts we cannot ignore. We see when we used to work with the United Nations, there are still trailers of young boys who 3, 4, or 5 years, which are transferred and what we call taken across Africa through different channels for the pleasure of men in Saudis. Child trafficking does not stop in one place. Some of the girls who come from Kashmir are bought by the United Nations officers, and the same girls are taken back on the same road 5 minutes, an hour later, by the same people that they paid for them. We are aware of this. The biggest work for, especially if you remember last week, I said we have a lot to do with Germany. Germany government is aware of this, and French and the German government has to answer to the European community. Why do we have our center in a country which is a center of pedophilia recognized by United Nations? Are members of the European community inclined that way? That's why they strive to become, then they have access to free children. These are the things which has to be answered. Why Keshe Foundation used to be targeted by the pedophiles? We saw we put Alan Sterling away, and we still had Dirk worse than anybody else behind it. The pictures we have from Dirk from taking places where he knew children are buried are still with us. We never disclose it. One of the biggest pedophiles used to be with Keshe Foundation. We opened this door very soon for you. We got rid of it. We were, and everybody said, Mr. Keshe speaks about pedophiles. We didn't understand how come we absorbing these people, because the one with the longest pedophile history was sitting right on top of the Keshe Foundation. They were working through us. We didn't know. It wasn't we were hunting. They were directed. They're involved in it. And a scientific organization brings this kind of people. And we've seen it. But how can we stop it? How can we stop the slavery? We see men working 10, 12 hours shift in Saudi Arabia and in Middle East and other places for meager food to help their families back home. And they have no slavery. We see the same thing in part of India and the rest. I think one of the nations who have strived to fight child slavery is China. They do their best to bring it under control. That there's not much, or if it is, this government sits on top of it. This is not random. This is organized, and once we sort out the peace process with the upcoming time, and maybe in years, we have to handle the state of Belgium as is recognized by United Nations. Then we most probably curtail 30–40% of the child trafficking in the world. It's like agencies, they work through it. And in past year, we have to come understand much more than I could not imagine how we've been, what we call, I can't find a word to say, infiltrated. We were not infiltrated. We had one of the top inside us, we didn't know. We found that recently. We keep our books very close because our, what we call, we put Alan Sterling away. With it, we've seen another one gone. And now we found out why we've been targeted, how we've been targeted, how they've been allowed in through the back door. We had a chance to do it. And when we release information, it's in black and white. We don't make accusation. And the biggest answer, Germany and France, to be part of the peace talk in 5+1, if Iran is considered a nation of advanced technology, why do they allow their member of parliament to go to a nation which is by United Nations marked as biggest pedophile nation on this planet? What's the reason? Our members of the European Parliament or people who work within the European Parliament are inclined that way, and this is a new way of sourcing it. Become a member of Parliament, European Parliament, and have access to free children. This has to be answered by our leaders. Or close the Brussels and move it to Strasbourg. Where is the home? French are staying more or less clean of these things. and then handle it. There's a lot to be answered. And you're not the only one. We keep very silent about this, but we keep a very close eye to it. I used to be involved in United Nations child trafficking, what we call slavery in Africa, and we get to know a lot of it. I used to work in Africa for years, and with our work, we were requested a few times by securities to keep an eye what is happening where we are and what we see, and we became part of monitoring system. And what I know is a tip of iceberg. I'm sure there is more to it. We've seen it Epstein in the United States. What else? Where else? We have a huge problem in European countries, and especially in London and Paris. And that is, it's a big dilemma, because I used to work with British Customs and we discussed this, and I stood in lines watching it, we couldn't do much, is the Saudis who come to England with 4 wives. And sometimes 1 or 2 of these are in their 13s and below, in teenage and below. Legal in Saudi Arabia by Islamic law to marry a 9-year-old. And they come, they have 10, 12, 15-year-old children, and this girl, 9, 10 years old, is a wife. And British Customs, I've seen them scratching their head that what can they do? How do we pass this 9-year-old as a child? And I've seen them scratching their head. And what can they do? Is it pedophilia, or is it accepted by religion? Or is it one covered under doctor? We have to understand this, and we have to what we call analyze it, how we're handling it. Is the religion ahead of humanity? Or do we bring some sanity into religion? We have this in Iran. In Islamic countries, you can marry 4 wives. That's your right. In Iran, as Islamic nation, you're allowed 1 wife. The second one needs a lot of hurdles to sort out if you can marry the second one. Even the first wife has to agree, because of whatever condition, she allows the second one. We stayed loyal to the principle of Zoroaster, even we are an Islamic country. So there is a way that can be controlled by law. Iran is one of the very few, most probably only Islamic nations that you're not allowed to have 2 wives or 3 or 4. Impossibilities. Because the law is set by the law of Zoroaster. We are an Iranian nation, Islamic. So there is a way. There has to be a way for us to find a solution. We have found a solution by law within the laws of Iranian nation. We are Islamic, you can have 4 wives, but within the framework of work. And then how old the child can be, or the person can be. But we see, on the other hand, in countries like England, children of 9, 10-year-olds get pregnant. There is more operation goes on with the pregnancy of 9 and 10-year-old in England with the girls than anywhere in the world. And it's supposed to be one of the most advanced nations in the world. There are specialist surgeons given a special certification in England to operate for abortion on the children of 9, 10-year-old in Wythenshawe Hospital in Manchester. And this has been going on for years, because one of these surgeons used to be an Iranian scientist, Iranian surgeon, who was a close friend. He said, Mehran, I operate on a 9-year-old for abortion. I'm ashamed to be human being. It's not just anywhere else. In the West exist. In the banner of Catholicism, we call it the nun go for a vow of silence. Why don't the priests go on a vow of silence? Because the nuns were raped by the priests and they were pregnant. So a nun who's supposed to be a woman of God could not be pregnant in the church. This abuse has been going on for too long. When Mrs. Thatcher went to the parliament in England and they made rules because they had so many churches, nobody was going to Church of England, and started selling the churches. Some of our friends bought churches, and then in the first cycle, when they started building the churches, they found so many bodies that the Church of England passed a law: we sell the property. If you want to do anything, our workers have to come and work, that they could dig out the babies who were born by the priests. We have always abused this cycle, and mankind had reached a position of changing, and it's time to change. One of the first things a nation claims to be advanced, why the Americans have an ambassador in a country which is the biggest child trafficking nation in the world. Are the American ambassadors in the same game? They know it, they're closing us, or do they receive children, or any other ambassadors, or any other nations? This goes for every nation. We close embassies, we put countries under boycotts and sanctions. Why not the pedophiles, which United Nations tells us they are, is not made up? But we wait and see. Let's handle the peace with the guns, and then we handle peace with the children. That's the only way we can do. But as I said before, German government especially has to answer this, because a lot of German men have this problem. We are aware of it. And they travel a lot into Belgium. And the position is with the members of the European Parliament. Why didn't they get boycotted? We already have a Strasbourg. Let all the EU go to a Strasbourg, Belgium is sorted. As a friend of ours said, is there a basement to the European, what do you call it, Parliament, that nobody knows? Basement of thoughts and ignorance.
That is this deep state, Mr. Keshe. That's what makes me so desperate. This deep state is organized in the center of.
We allow the states to exist.
But Mr. Keshe, these are sick people. It is the heads of our own countries. It is in the US. It is in royal families.
They are everywhere, even in the presidential. Have you seen the picture of what do you call? We just had his name a few minutes ago. Somebody mentioned it, Mr. Soft. He has a picture with the guy who got hung in the prison and disappeared.
Yes,
we don't want to mention name.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yes.
Why should a man? And there is a rumors in the background. One of the reasons for the recent divorce is what is to open up the connection between him and the child abuse, because now there are many pictures of him being with this gentleman.
That is.
Just go on the internet. It's not accusation. Just type on the internet.
No, Mr. Keshe, I follow. I'm following this for a long time, and the thing I see is that I think I've told you I was in this sphere of upper financial things. And I have gone out because if you are not participating, you risk that you're liquidated. So I went out of it. But the question here is that these people have made laws for us, but not for them. And
you see, let me tell you something. The way I look at it in short-term and long-term or solution is through the understanding the way we put people in the enhancement unit, we bring balance to their soul. There is no time to kill anymore. There is no time to imprison anymore. It's time to bring a fundamental change. We imprisoned long enough. We killed long enough. We changed the name of cities to fit the punishment, to scare people. And it didn't work. The city of Antwerp in Belgium, why is it called Antwerp? It's twisted. It's called Antwerpen, where they cut the hand because the Spanish were still Muslims, and they had the port of Antwerp. And if anybody did anything wrong there in that area, was treated by the law of Islamic law, you're a thief, they cut the hand. Antwerpen became Antwerp by change because the Christianity changed from Spain into the process. We changed name. We put name of cities with to befit the punishment. But why should a man steal? The new understanding has to bring a new change. The time of punishment is over. The time is to bring the change that there is no need for punishment. Because we made it to be norm. We made it, we allowed it. Years ago, I was standing, the mobile phones were not still in the market. If you remember, it used to be a suitcase carrying. I was in a telephone box in Manchester, and my car was parked outside because I had to make a telephone call. And while I was in the car, the little boy, 10, 11 years, was trying to break into my car. I opened the box and I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "What's got to do with it?" I said, "It's my car." He said, "You should be in it, otherwise it's mine." We made criminality normal for our children. And it's the same. We understand, we have to change it. And the process is we put criminals in prisons, but there is a process, we have access to knowledge where we can change the soul of the man and elevate it that the physicality changes.
You know, that is what I really do hope, is that soon this moment comes where there is some force which is going to change all these people, because it is getting unbearable.
It is because our people have allowed it to happen. When we got our understanding, exactly this month, next month is 4 years, 5 years. It was exactly this time when the first time we accused him of child pedophilia. He went to YouTube and they brought all our system down. We mentioned his name. And 8 months later, he was in prison. What we said, did you two come and apologize from Keshe Foundation? That you were
actually live stream, Mr. Keshe. In that case, they took down our whole live stream channel, which we had to redo, and lost all the videos and whatnot. Yes.
Yeah. It was about the same time, if you remember, July, August.
I remember the time of year from that event. Yes, it put an indelible imprint in my.
I remember when you mentioned it the first time. That's years ago. My thing is that all these so-called leaders, they do know about all that, and it is money alone.
You see, it's not money. You see, it's not only money; it's power.
Yes, you're right.
The situation is now there has to be clarity. And there has to be very, very much clarity about these things. By what we call, the way I see it, this has to be set out by Universal Council. We are working on it within the next few months to establish the what we call proper legal structure around Universal Council and Earth Council. It's their responsibility to find a solution through new understanding of technology and science for these people. You got to understand, we are putting 1,000, 10,000 people on UFOs in deep space travel for hundreds of years. Confined spaces. When you put 1,000 people, even in the size of a football stadium, after 3 weeks, they get fed up. We've seen that in the trials done by the Russians in the space program. Even we provide them the food and everything, the sensuality and sexuality takes over. How do we set? When I speak about these things, because we look at it from the Keshe Foundation space technology point. It's not just getting a man to a space, it's feeding it, understanding his psychology, not for him to commit suicide, not for him to do anything wrong. All this is part of the technology. When you build a city, you think of a hospital, the train station, the bus, the fuel station. In the space travel of the future, we have to look at the psychology of the man and how we control it. That is normal. We don't end up half of the spaceship raping the other half and half of the children. You put one Belgium in a spaceship, the whole lot will turn up. And this is what we have to stop. To change in the process through the soul of the man, the new understanding.
You know, of course, we don't know, or we have no idea here what other forms of life, how they act and react and have reacted over the past millions of years. We have a lack of knowledge how to behave in such a huge surrounding, and as long as we're not able to sort of communicate with other life forms, or even humanoid forms, who tell us how they have solved or are solving or try to solve their problems, I think it will be really very, very difficult on our planet.
We have a problem in every race in the universe. It's not that they're all angels and the human race is all evil. Each structure, each cycle of life, each level of life has its own, what you call ways of, what you call a problem, what we call a way of working. And it's not all hunky-dory because they have everything. The problem, these kind of things exist across different ways of different races in the universe. It's not a peculiarity of specifically to human beings. But we have certain problems which has become naturalized and put together by man for that purpose. And for years, they start telling me why Mr. Keshe always speaks about, we don't need to speak. In the past 12 months, we have found out the root of why Keshe Foundation was targeted by Peter Fax. Because we were told lies. And now we, through our research and other things, we found out they were all lies. Keshe Foundation was used deliberately for this purpose. And they accuse us. And we come up with legal documents, no accusation.
In your opinion, Mr. Keshe, when we start being able to travel through space, and we are going to meet other civilizations, will that be the beginning that finally sort of we can come out of this cocoon in which we have been for the last, say, at least 5,000 years since the last ice age? and have been sort of put into a drawer, and we were told by churches, organizations, and so on, that's what you have to think and that you cannot think. And now we are again at this point where they start to try to take the right to express openly what you think. They try to limit all that. What, in your opinion, will it be possible that these people going out to come back and tell us how, or is it possible that others from outside come in and we can learn how they try to solve their problems, and maybe we'll find out that yes, there's some problems which are on a similar level or are in similar parameters or whatever.
I think the time will tell you this. The time
absolutely will, that I know.
We are not all bad. Not everything is wrong with the human race. We have a lot of beauties that they learn from us.
Absolutely,
they had a problem.
This planet is so beautiful. This race, the human race, could be such a beautiful human race, but it's these ones sort of sick people who sort of.
You see, let me explain to you something. They were not born sick, very few. Huh? It's what we accept to do. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It's a big difference. And what is known, what we have made it known. Being alcoholic is a known. Being, you know, you're Swiss, you know what they call the Vatican Guard and the Swiss Guard, huh?
Yeah.
Gay club. If you're not gay, you cannot be part of the Swiss Guard in Vatican. So, whether all the Swiss Guard born gay, which I don't think so, but was it a position of gain to do something? So we have to create a condition. It's not that being gay is criminal. It's just the way we change, the way people accept the change. We accepted killing to be the right thing, and we just kill because it is. They enforce us who has a nuclear weapon is a superior power, even though they're bankrupt in their accounts. If we would run a country like United States with bankruptcy beyond imagination, they close shop. Apparently that country becomes more powerful because it can press a nuclear bomb, we are afraid. But now we are not afraid anymore. From today, we have a solution. You put a nuclear bomb, we put a peace bomb. We put the absorption gravity system on, useless. We are not afraid of nuclear technology anymore. This is why for months and years I say Iran is not interested in nuclear, because we don't need to have a better technology, which we are prepared to share now. And we open the books. So what we are afraid of and what we don't like and what we would like has to be all accepted by us as a human race to be, not behind the windows and behind the doors, talk something in the front and do something else in the back. And a man's inclination towards what we call reproduction, you call it sex or whatever, is so strong to produce that cannot be stopped. And what's going to happen in the space? Or do we put an age gap? Do we put a position that people who kill, position who see war as what we call kingship? What we see in the United States in about 12 months, killing a man live in front of the cameras just because you are white and you can stand on somebody's neck. Do you know what would happen if you do this reverse? Why do the Chinese are getting intimidated and beaten on the streets of America? Because Corona came from China? Did the American and the Canadian scientists develop it? Should we do that with the Canadians and Americans? This animal behavior of destruction has to change within the soul of the man. We're about to happen. We're about to change. But what you touched today is something which in the foundation we struggle for years, and you will see uprooted. The pedophile groups within the foundation lost their pivotal point. We will not see much, or if there are, we will uproot them. Because the main key person and organizers have gone, and they brought these in. We become aware of it, but we need time. We'll disclose it, and you see how correct we are.
I'm very pleased that you were that we had the possibility to talk about this problem. We cannot solve it today, but it
is a concern of every parent. It's a concern of every mother with the daughters, every father with the child. It's not just us.
No, absolutely. I agree with you.
This weekend is exactly 1 year I haven't seen my child. Don't know he's alive, don't know he's dead, and it's the typical behavior of Belgians. We don't know if he's been sold into these circles. The only thing we have seen is the birthday cake with LBG candles on it. What does that mean when you send the birthday cake of your son with the LBG candle on it?
And
they put it on their Facebook. Exactly. It's on their Facebook. This is the birthday cake of your son at the age of 15.
This is so sick. And it is so,
I have to live with it. I have to live with it, and I have found peace within myself to be there. And this is what we can get it to consume us, or we strive to change fundamentally.
Oh yes, I have found peace within. I'm for that, but of course, from time to time, it sort of is in front of you, and then I try to not to sort of close myself to all these problems.
We can't close. We have so much to offer to change, and that is beyond imagination. And sometimes we look at the bigger picture.
Sometimes that's what I have.
The bigger picture.
Why I follow the knowledge seekers for years and years, because the first time I saw in front of me a technology which has nothing destructive, you know, and the more it goes, the longer it comes, the better it gets. So I'm absolutely happy that these problems are discussed within these internal organizations of the Keshe Foundation, and I hope that with this technology getting out, that we slowly will be able to become what humans really could be, and that all these stories of snakes eating for that, and then women have to bear children in a lot of pain and so on, all these books for control, that this is the other thing you said, it is control, that man slowly gets away from this urge of controlling and having this possibility of creating money out of nothing and use it to cover all their urges, that this disease is maybe one day gone.
We have to find a proper solution for these things. Doesn't come by imprisonment, doesn't come by other things. When I used to live in England, because we used to work with securities and what we call other structures through our offices, a police officer told me, what's wrong? We put these people into prisons for the first offense, They go in as innocent, they come as graduates. They learn everything in prisons, what to do wrong. And the solution is not to make prisons. The solution is to find a solution that it changes the man from inside.
Right.
And this is what this technology and the Keshe Foundation is about. We cannot build any more prisons just to put the blacks or the Asians or whatever in. We have to find a solution that changes the man from inside.
And you know, the Gans waters and the fields around it and so on, they do help, because I see it every time somebody. Yesterday I had the visit of somebody, and they said, if I come into your house, it's something of quiet, peaceful. Yeah, I have on my table a bottle with Gans in it, everywhere, in every room.
Can you imagine? Sorry about that. Can you imagine what happens to us in the factories of the Keshe Foundation?
Yeah, oh yes, that's what I said the other day to Dr. Friller. I hope that everything is going on a little bit faster.
We have become a bunch of numb people sometimes. I look at it.
It is so beautiful, because there was a really fine feeling doctor the other day. He visited me and he said, you know, usually after half an hour talking to somebody, I'm totally exhausted. And now we're sitting here 3 hours and talk. But the wood your house is made of and so on, it's like living. Yeah, I said that these fields some way they bring this peace, and I hope that this is going.
I hope we'll bring peace. I hope so. Anyway.
We'll go all around the world one day.
Thank you very much.
People will be happy.
Thank you very much. We better stop with this, because we can talk for days.
Mr. Keshe, thank you very much. And I think your explanations or your sayings over the last half hour or more is a really help for everybody who is listening. For me, it was a real pleasure, and I wish you a very nice day.
Thank you very much. I want to remind you that in 2 days' time, Saturday and Sunday, the Romanian community is holding the first Keshe Foundation Scientific Conference in Romania. And we hope to learn new ways of how scientists have used this technology. We announced the first Keshe Foundation Space Technology for 4th and the 5th, if I'm correct, of September in the Keshe Foundation New Center in Linz. We are expecting to invite eminent scientists to be in the first conferences in Linz. Space scientists from different nations, not necessarily carrying Keshe Foundation technology, but bringing the technology forward to what it is. And those of you who want to participate, to be amongst not just as knowledge seekers, but with a world scientist to take the next step and show what you know, what you understand, and maybe find ways of working with it. These conferences has to become the next focal point for all our understanding and work. And at the same time, the same we have announced the first agricultural conference in Linz, 3rd weekend of September, where new technologies and new development in science and technology in agriculture will be discussed, and it's the same. You can invite your scientists, your ministers, your whatever attaches in the countries to attend these conferences, and we'll see how we change things. You got to realize the time of working and talking is very much different. And even we, as I said, we are looking at opening the first university. And one of our understanding is that we need to educate all the scientists from all over the world, not exclusively. And at the same time, teach them to work together as one, because they have to do it in the space. And build up what I call unified space university for all of us, that we gradually, as we graduate these people in teams of maybe 50, 100, they start building their own first spaceships to take the space, to take what I call into space, and what things can be done. We look in 5 to 10-year plan. And as I said, when we were negotiating for the new university premises, is I said it'll take us 3 years to see the doors open with the world scientists to work. We run such university in Tehran, but everything cannot be in Tehran. That's why we open another position in another place. We see the same thing in China. And so join us in these conferences that we can start establishing the first space programs that we set the laws by our ethos, by our ways. And we find new solutions for our race. And maybe new understanding that we can improve, we can build on our technologies. We getting report continuously on the different examining tests and developments around the world. And even every day something comes up. It's like when you sit at where I sit, is we get as much good news as bad news and changing news, which is coming in different parts of Keshe Foundation working. And we have to learn to share, share openly, but at the same time, respect the knowledge and respect the people who came up with the knowledge that it can be done the correct way and appropriate. Any other question?
We have a question in the Q&A from Salamia. She wants me to ask about the technology of the butterfly against electromagnetic radiation. And can we make it in our house? And what are the benefits of this technology for health? Perhaps I could show the butterfly from the
is
KF
a technology.
store.
It's not just what you see. The butterfly carries specific materials which is developed. People say, oh, this is a gas of CO2. No, it's not. As we say in Farsi, whoever has a mustache is not your uncle. Just because his father is not the CO2. We have developed these mixtures and these technologies in a specific way that it interacts, it absorbs, and we have tested it. We see the results of it. We know what it does. But as usual, we keep these things as part of the structure of the Keshe Foundation work to interact with the plasmatic fields. And actually, we have so much order on it that more or less now we have full-time work just to produce these. 2 or 3 people full-time more or less are involved in production of this. It's effective, and knowledge seekers around the world are ordering it in huge quantities. And we have automatic machines working just to make the windings, but that's nothing. It's just anybody can make thing. It's the technology, what we do with it, what we put background behind it, and what it is developed for Keshe Foundation. I developed this myself, and I know exactly what it does. It's not just the electromagnetic fields, it elevates the soul. This is the beauty of it. It penetrates deep in. And it's this, what now is, and as I said, now is a full-time job for 2 or 3 people in Keshe Foundation. And we know the way it's going. In the next few months, we'll have a structure just producing this in the factories. Because it works, people feel good with it.
Now, people have made the figure 8 out of nano-coated copper wire previously, but this goes way beyond that in terms of the field interactions. I'm assuming with the...
It is not just a field. it developed for the usage and elevation of the soul. It has a specific characteristics to it.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that, Mr. Keshe.
A number of these will be brought to the conference in Bucharest this weekend. We are bringing in for knowledge seekers, and hopefully we'll see the expansion of the technology to understanding more of. We are set out first steps, as I said, for the development of the delivery of the first transportation systems. It'll take us a few months to complete, and the same is with other technologies which we release. And one of the beauties with the university which we are setting up, we try to have a manufacturing part of the Keshe Foundation inside the university. In a way, students work inside the production and development and research, that they see the whole spectrum, that when they go to their countries, they understand everything is not just a piece of paper reading. If they develop a technology for space lift and motion, they go in the research lab, complete it, and they go in the factory, they make it. And we try to make a position that by working in the production line and assembly and development, the knowledge seekers as students learn everything about how the process is done. It's not just coming here and learning and go. And it is done for different aspects of the technology, be it the space, be it agriculture. And we'll see how it takes place. But in the next few weeks, we'll make an announcement if we succeed in what we're trying to do. Somewhere by 2022, we will see the first open fields of universities after opening in Tehran. We're expecting to open the universities on the space technology for world scientists in Tehran in the coming months. And then this location in Europe will give us opportunity that we don't need to travel. We can work near home and learn here.
And Mr. Keshe, kind of lends into a couple of other questions that have come up here. Rocco in YouTube has asked, Dear Mr. Keshe, how can I test with plasmas or organzas my intention and understand the reactions? Many, many thanks.
When it happens, don't say it was accidental. How come it happened? Just accident. Believe and understand you have caused it. That's the best thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people, we have no meters to measure. We hope, we wish, and it happens, and it's all accidental. How come it didn't happen till then and now it's accidental? It's your own disbelief in your own belief which causes you a problem. Let's strengthen it the right way, it'll come the right way. When you have a child born through the soul, it's the mother and the father who have to give the totality of the soul to it, not half measure. You will get a physical child. If you, as parents, put the soul into it and create it through what are called unisons of the souls, the way you came units of soul inside the mother, you get the soul of the child. You don't need to go through birth tunnel. And then you will see the difference. As long as you got a split, I'm not sure if it's there, you go through sure because you're not there. As long as you're half committed to a relationship, don't expect to give a child from the dimension of the soul. It will not happen. Because you got to understand the soul is inside you. He knows you. You cannot lie to it. This is the difference between the children of the soul and the children of the And children of man, 9 months comes out, that's it. You got it. Children of the soul are created out of the soul of both parents. And it has to be 100% sincerity and love for it to be created by both. Because she doesn't work, she's not in there hidden just only to the mother. She has access to the soul of the father and the mother. This mankind has to learn the new way. Otherwise, you still give birth to the physical child. These are the part of progressive development of the man, changing from animal behavior to universal behavior. Sorry, we don't have any MOPS and we don't have any delivery rooms in the universe. But if you want to give birth to your child in the physical dimension, then stay on Earth, because you have everything in the delivery rooms. If you understand and you want to progress to the dimension of the creation in the understanding and work of the universe, you create the soul, and the soul will deliver itself according to the law of the both. It needs a lot of understanding, otherwise you still behave like humans and you still give birth like animals. A lion does the same as does a rat. Man has access to his soul to elevate to that point. Then he has to be equal for both. This time, 3 have a say in the birth, not 1 just because he holds a child. Any other question?
Well, speaking of human emotions and so on, Hassan in the YouTube is asking, will we feel bored in space, or will the human being feel the need to come back to Earth?
What we have seen in the humans who've been part of the space, they come back, but they soon leave. It's not that no humans has ever been to space. 2 or 3 things reverse back to them. First of the condition of inhumane condition of mankind. And the other thing is what we see as what I call the working which you don't need to, like killing to eat, destroying to exist. And most of those who go to space and have been out of the human race, they've been once back, but they never come back because they have seen a different dimension of life. And mankind will become that way. We have, and we are evolved.
Perhaps if we had some sort of job in space, or if they have job categories.
We don't need a job. We don't
well,
need
some service that we're doing, let's put it that way, something to be of service.
There's a lot of things to do in the space. There are no factories.
Well, that's what I figured. You'll be busy doing something or another. There won't be much time to be bored, perhaps. But I don't know, maybe on the highest level where you are one with everything, maybe it could get boring. There's not enough friction for, it's like the old ancient saying of, you're not married, what do you do for aggravation? Everyone needs a little friction in their life to keep the blood going and so on.
Yeah, but you know what they say, how come if a marriage is so bad, the married man and the single man both die about the same time? We don't have unmarried men or women living 200 years and the married one 100 years. So it doesn't matter if you're married or not, it's all the same.
Mm-hmm.
What you missed in the process counts.
Mm. Dan is asking, how do you perceive the Maghreb of the place in Romania? He's asking as in terms of the reference point is your soul or the inertia and the Maghreb of the place. Well, I have to translate the English, which is translated from the Romanian, I guess. But he's wondering how you perceive the Maghreb of the place in Romania where the conference is, I presume.
We, as usual, we attend these conferences because it's part of the strengthening and sharing knowledge. And it creates some good things, creates some bad things for some people, depends on which side of the fence you sit. But collectively, every time we had a conference somewhere, we have brought the forces together to go to the next step if the community sticks to what they agreed and what they wanted. We saw it with the Brazilian conference, how it changed the Brazilian community. And
Right.
would be, pardon?
Right, he mentions it leads to different interactions with your soul, basically, in that situation.
We go with the open soul. We go there to change, to bring changes for the benefit of the nation. There are people coming from other nations in the conference. And if you are Romanian, just turn up. I think there is a few, they increased the capacity, the hotel allowed to increase the capacity in the last minutes, last day. So there's by law, they can add another 50 to the numbers. So if you're Romanian, just come in on Saturday or Sunday because this increase in number is available. Up to now was a restriction of 100 by the government. And now they have increased it to 150 in the past few days. So knowledge, they were full. And now there is a space. If you come in and feel it and take it with you to wherever you are. The same is with the conferences which we set up in the exhibition center in Linz. We try to make permanent positions like in Arizona, in the Keshe Foundation in China Center. People going through the same thing, the same. Now, Mexico is ready for that. Tehran is getting ready for conferences. And it's part of ask yourself what you take in yourself. Are you going to a conference to learn, or are you going to a conference to give, to elevate? If you're going to learn, you're still a human. If you're going to a conference that your soul by its knowledge gives to the others, then you progress a step up. Maybe in that process of giving, you learn something. Turn up and see. One thing for sure, and I hope I'm correct, anyone who attends these conferences, especially in Romania or Linz or other places, be taking up chances with us to help you and to support you if anything happens. Any other question? Are we there? Hello?
Oh, sorry, Mr. Keshe. I was talking with my microphone off there for a bit. We had a question from Bonneville, Virginia, from in the Q&A here in Zoom. Mr. Keshe, what do you think about the child of the sun? Child of the sun. She says the plasma is my son. I'm a child of the sun. I'm the girl of the sun. I'm in love. My name is Virginie. She's French. It's difficult to speak English, but she tries. She says, I was dancing with Mr. Keshe, and I love that. Do you remember with me, my soul with you? And she
I've
says,
been dancing with a lot of people recently. Yeah.
yes, maybe in one night, you know.
Yeah, you never know. It's beautiful to understand these things, but we are all children of sun, which is our soul. So we are created from the sun of our soul. So in terminology, yes, we are children of our sun, which is our soul shines, and the reflection of is us. And this is how we come to the time and the space of where we are and who we are.
Now, Mr. Keshe, you mentioned both today and the last teaching this relationship between the sun and the earth, and you mentioned how, you know, we're on this spaceship zipping through space now, and we take it all for granted, and we just kind of go about our lives as if everything's normal. But it's, when you think about it in terms of the way you described it, it's you know, a miracle basically, and the sun gives so much to the earth gives back to the sun somewhat, you were saying at the same time. And the thing is, the human beings are receiving all these gifts from the sun. Should we not be paying back in a more concrete way? Is there anything we can do as humans, either on an individual or group level, to
can't become sun worshippers and everything else will pay back.
Is there any appropriate emotional response to send back to the sun? The sun being like the creator.
Yeah, you have seen in the universe where people who reach the point of absolute detachment and devotion, they become, within the dimension of their existence, the sun themselves, that they radiate back. Every single soul has the capability to become a star. This is what's going to happen to it when it lives through your physical body anyway. It depends how much you get rid of the weaker strength outside for the stronger, which is the sun, to appear. So we don't become sun worshippers, but we understand the sun is within us. And if we can strip all of it off, our soul can be bigger than the sun, because that's how the sun started.
And then we could start feeding. And then we can actually feed. Then we could actually feed the sun if we became larger than, you know, more of a field strength.
We become, doesn't need to be larger. You have to become deeper strength. Don't forget, even the sun has a condition of matter state. It has reached that matter. That's why it's there. If you can become our soul, which is the sun, in the strength becomes a state of us, which is matter state much faster because of the structure of the brain. I explained this in a very simple way once to children in a classroom. Maybe it's very similar to it. You know, you have a teapot and you put hot water in it, and you leave it on the table. After a while, very short time, it cools down because it gives all its energy out. If you put a heater in it to continuously keep it boiling, it gives all the heat the room becomes on, because the heating heats the water, water heats the body, and then you become a central heating, more or less. But what happened when you put that teapot and you put some blanket on it, cover it? It takes longer. It releases the energy slower, and then you have longer tea. It's the same with us. We have a physical blanketing of our brain in our sun, the center. And so we cool down in so many ways, faster rays in a smaller distance, and we contain it and we call it like a blanket, where the sun is actually has no blanket. It radiates all the way through its own structure. And this is what the difference is. The brain of the man and the sun has a gap of a few billion kilometers, where the soul of the sun is in the center and the soul of man. We still shine. When you go on the sun and look at the man, and you can see the soul of the man, that soul still shines, the same as the sun. There's no difference. If you put hydrogen on top of the sun to create more, or you put a blanket, which is the body of the man or the brain of the man, still inside it, there is a sun, and it shines. And as I said in one of the intros, 7 million stars, 7 billion stars on this planet, and more. If you can see beyond dimension of physicality, this planet is a shining, sparkling stars of billions, trillions. You just don't see the soul of the man. You see the ant, which man is not aware of, it has a soul, it still shines. You see the spider in the ceiling, it still shines, and you see the bird flying over. This planet is a shining star through the soul of man. It's just that we attach ourselves too much to the physicality, and we made ourselves blind to the reality. Any other question?
That was good, thank you. I was told today that by a farmer that on average there's a spider every meter away from you at all times. So that's a lot of shining souls all over the world.
So they say we eat on average so many spiders a year, all of us, while we're asleep or while in the food. I think it's about 20 spiders. Somebody Google it, that tells you. I think it's about, we on average eat 20 spiders a year.
Not to scare all the ladies out there and half the men, but
just Google it. I remember something in the back of my head. There's a number we eat on average, all of us. The problem is I didn't know there are so many spiders in the world. That's a problem.
Well, there's, I guess, lots of souls get eaten on this planet one way or another, at least transformed through the food process.
Yep. Any other question? Or shall we call it a day?
Well, how about one more question from Dan in the Q&A. He's got a burning question. It has some ramifications, perhaps, but he says, sometimes I dream in English, other times in Italian, and sometimes in Spanish. Now, Dan is Romanian. I know that I carry the emotions of that language, but why do I dream in different languages and not that of my Romanian mother tongue? Through these emotions, interactions enrich the fields of my soul, or are they just a transfer of energy?
It's combination of the interaction of the desire as emotion. It's if you lived in a community or in a structure of different language than your birth, after you change and you live in a community, your language of the brain changes. And so some people they speak Spanish without knowing, and they've never been to Spain, but they understand it because it's the emotion of the language. It's how you perceive it and how you want to receive it. We have knowledge seekers in China who speak funny noises, which is meaningless, and another person who actually translates these noises, and then the person who made noises, this is exactly what he meant when they made the noises. And it's amazing because I've been present in it, in one of them, and it's very, very strange phenomena. But it's all garbage, a lot of noises, and the other person can translate the noise what it means. Noise is a human level. The essence comes from the soul. And it's very funny when you listen to them. Any other question? Or we're about 12:30, 12:30.
Yeah, I think we should wrap things up perhaps now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rick. Hopefully, thank you very much for everything. Hopefully we meet you in Bucharest this weekend. We attend the conference, and hopefully we learn. I'm sure we learn from each other, and we elevate each other's soul, and we'll see a better outcome in Romania and the Romanian community, and we'll see how it goes, and we build it up. As I said, just 1 second, because I have to answer this one. In what we put out today is the notion of a nation who brings peace through knowledge and technology. Is not accelerating a nation, but a nation which has set course for peace that the others to follow, by example. And this is the outcome of understanding the totality of the knowledge. And in that process, to be aware of the changes to come. Maybe there is a reason for this, and maybe there is an example for this, that we don't become arrogant with what we know, but become humble to share. And this is what we set out to do, with the knowledge to bring the change. And we are a good example of it because we've done it for 8-9 years. We've done it for 15 years, 16 years now, sharing unconditionally. And now the ethos of the Keshe Foundation becomes ethos of a nation. And in a way, us as human beings, as one nation, once it becomes the ethos of our nation as one race, one planet, one nation, then we can take this to space and see what other races will learn through us and from us. And this is the beauty of the position, the condition, and time. And we are fortunate that the soul of so many human beings have reached that point of maturity and is ready for the change, ready for elevation. And we all benefit by it. And we'll see what will come out of it. We'll see how we'll change. And we'll see the notion of the knowledge and technology can bring permanent peace to human race. Thank you very much for today. And I thank many of those, and especially those who are sitting online today from the White House. As we informed you before, you heard our point. This is a hand of peace from a human race, not from a nation. And the same as before, we open our patterns and you requested to share. Now we share more, and this time you don't need to request, but it's there on the table of peace for all of us to enjoy and share. We asked the American administration over the past 24 hours to listen to today's teaching. And this goes directly back to the Oval Office. Your Excellency President Biden, you're invited to that. But on the banner of equal, not by the power of gun policy, but by the knowledge and technology. Thank you very much for today. And hopefully we'll see you next week. And we welcome you. We thank the Romanian community to accept us as their guests for a few days while we share knowledge.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Keshe, for today's teaching. That is the 389th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, July 15th, 2021. I'm not sure if we have any announcements. There's the usual things such as the spray day, which I call spray day on the Sunday, which will be at 12 noon and 6 p.m. And at the 6 p.m. there'll be a Zoom meeting with Liliana is organizing, and there'll be links to that in the usual social media places, as well as other activities as we usually have through those links as well. Of course, the One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace coming up on next Tuesday. Okay, I'll play some ending messages for everyone. And thank you, everybody, for attending today and for your questions and comments. Thank you, of course, Mr. Keshe, as always, for yet another outstanding workshop here. Thank you so much. Okay, here we go.
Innovative, revolutionary, stellar development, purest universal knowledge. In a transformative, futuristic design. The Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit. The very first new evolutionary spaceship technology has been rolled out for mass production. Our Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship unit is constructed from high-quality materials carefully selected by our team of experts. Embedding the essence of the new GANS plasma science and technology, it uses collective plasma field technology for changing and enhancing the environment of the body of the man. This new plasma enhancement changes the environment of the body to allow it to return to its natural, balanced energetic condition, as in the womb of the mother, allowing every cell in the body of the man to find its natural, original field strength balance. The shape and field distribution in this new space plasma technology replicates the inner structure of the universe and replicates the balance fields from which the man was created at the point of inception in the womb of the mother, not only receiving balance in the physical, but also in the emotional sense too. For the first time in the history of man, a system has been developed and delivered which not only enhances the physical body of the man, but also enhances the emotional part of the user of the system, hence reducing and eliminating many problems that could not be solved in the world of science, to bring the body of the man into near perfection as at the time of birth. This new spaceship technology can be within the reach of every man today and can be ordered by medical practitioners, sports specialists and healthcare centres. The Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the future you have been waiting for, is here. The journey from space to spaceship technology has started. Every order is subject to a contractual agreement and might require additional accessories priced separately for applications according to each case. You can order or contact us at office@at.kfm.global for additional information. Hello. We are the Keshe Foundation. Our mission is to bring peace on Earth and join humanity with the universal community. We wish and work to bring man as equal to all beings in the universe. By teaching plasma science and technology equally to everyone, no one is left out and no one is abused due to lack of knowledge. By donating to us, you can help achieve this goal. KesheFoundation.org/donate